Coming up on Network Africa. Suspect arrested for South African Parliament fire appears in court, denies accusations. Guinea opposition leader demands return to civilian rule after military junta seized power in September. Plus, more evidence emerged from the World Health Organization that the Omicron variant affects the upper respiratory tract. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. A 49-year-old man accused of setting a fire at South Africa's Parliament building in Cape Town has appeared in court to face 5 charges, including arson and possession of an explosive device. Prosecutors alleged that he was found at the site with explosives. However, a lawyer for the suspect, Zandile Christmas Mafe, says he denies the accusations and would plead not guilty. Authorities were finally able to contain the fire after a second-day flare-up that completely destroyed the Lower House National Assembly chamber. The fire initially broke out on Sunday, January 2nd, and by Monday, January 3rd, authorities had withdrawn some fire trucks and said they were putting out embers, only for the flames to flare up again, causing more extensive damage to the new wing.
He's facing 5 charges currently. Those charges include housebreaking with intent to steal and theft, 2 counts of arson, possession of an explosive device, and destruction of essential infrastructure. The case has been postponed to the 11th of January.
Well, joining us now for more is our South Africa Bureau Chief, Betty Dibia. Hello, Betty. Do talk to us about how today's court proceedings went.
Hello, and thank you, Layo. Well, today, 49-year-old Zandile Christmas Mafe appeared at the Cape Town Magistrates Court to face charges. There's a likelihood that the charges will increase, but for now it's about 5 among those that you have listed. And something shocking happened as he appeared in court. While he walked in, you had a lineup of the paparazzi, waiting to take his picture, and he turned around facing them, actually did a 360, took off his mask to give them a good view. And you could die by the sound of the clicking in court. Well, he did that, and his beard was unkempt, his hair unkempt. We understand that he lives in one of the townships called Kailicha, known for a lot of violence. But he's appeared in court, and the case didn't go too far. The defense was going for a Schedule 5, which is ridiculous given the extent of damage, if indeed he is guilty. We don't know that yet. But the prosecution was looking at a higher schedule, a Schedule 5, for him to be charged or tried on the charges that they have laid out. So there was also the issue that the investigators have not been able to access the building, the premises of the Parliament. Remember, yesterday, there was a flare-up of fire that had the firefighters again on their toes and deploying more resources to the Parliament to try to put it out, because the wind was quite high at the time. So they've not been able to access. So they agreed for the postponement. The case has been postponed to the 11th of January, when probably more charges will be added to what he's already been charged with. But that's how it went today. Didn't go too far. The case has been postponed to the 11th of January 2022. Remember, he faces 5 charges, including housebreaking and theft, for allegedly stealing laptops, crockery, and documents from the Parliament, as well as 2 charges of arson for allegedly setting the National Assembly building on fire. We understand he's South African, and also a charge of contravening the Explosives Act. So the case was postponed to the 11th of January for bail information and further investigation. That's where the case is at today.
Well, one of his charges, like you've just mentioned, contravening the Explosives Act, explosives were found on him. And this raises more questions as to the real motive behind this crime. How are South Africans reacting to this?
Yes, Lio, because of that, him being found with, or allegedly being found with an explosive device, we don't know how technically advanced that may have been. That's why they've added the charge of contravening the Explosives Act. But in reaction to this, a lot of South Africans have been reacting with so many conspiracy theories. So many scenarios are being put out there. And while many are happy that this has happened, because that's a lot of money going down the drain, and blame is going from here to there and back, you have those who are actually happy that this has happened. I recall while we were on the ground on Sunday when this fire broke out, and a man probably in his 50s or 60s whom we spoke to was saying he's off camera, was saying he's happy this is a relic of the apartheid regime where so many laws oppressing people, were enacted, that he's happy it's all going up in ashes. I tried to find out more. He said he's willing to say it anywhere, that it's a reminder of the dark part of the history of the country, that he's happy. But you can't deny the fact that it's a lot of money that has gone down the drain. There's also the EFF reaction saying, well, we've always wanted the parliament to be in Pretoria, quite close to the seat of power. That's the presidency. The presidency, that's the union buildings in Pretoria. That the presence of the parliament in Cape Town is draining taxpayers' money. But again, I say there's no denying the fact that a lot has been lost in that fire. Then you have the likes of former President Jacob Zuma's daughter, Duduzile, reacting on social media. That has some backlash, but it still has some supporters, kind of celebrating that this has happened. But generally, people want to know the story behind this. And when I talked about conspiracy theories, some are saying probably some people are trying to hide some things, and they're trying to scapegoat using Mr. Mafe, who is now in the dock. By the way, he is going to be remanded till the issue of bail is brought out. I'm not quite sure if he'll be granted bail before his trial starts, but you never know with South African law and the issue of protection of rights of anybody. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of speculation. Until we hear, probably from the accused, we'll be able to know maybe the story behind this story. At this moment, it's all speculation and conspiracy theories.
All right, then we will have to wait till the 11th of January. But thank you so much, Betty Dibia, our South Africa Bureau Chief. Well, we're still in South Africa, where a judicial panel that examined allegations of high-level corruption during former President Jacob Zuma's tenure will hand over the first of its three-part report to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, the panel was chaired by Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo and has been investigating allegations of state capture, corruption, and fraud in the public sector during former President Zuma's time in power. That was between 2009 and 2018. The remaining parts of the report are expected to be handed over to Mr. Ramaphosa before the end of next month. The group Democracy in Action has filed a case at the High Court in Johannesburg against the submission of the report to President Ramaphosa, arguing that he is conflicted and had been implicated in corruption. Mr. Ramaphosa had previously said he resisted corruption whilst he served as Mr. Zuma's deputy. Well, Zuma is accused, among other things, of allowing an Indian business family with close links to him to siphon state assets. Guinea's main opposition leader says more than 100 of the country's political parties will present a joint demand for a return to civilian rule to the military junta that seized power in September. Selu Dalien Diallo told a news conference that the collective of political parties had agreed a timetable for political transition. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, is demanding that elections be held within 6 months in Guinea. The body suspended Guinea from the regional bloc after President Alpha Condé was deposed in a coup nearly 4 months ago. Well, on Monday, the United States also dropped Guinea, along with Ethiopia and Mali, from Africa Trade Preference Agreement over human rights concerns. Pro-democracy activists in Sudan have announced fresh protests amid a political crisis deepened by the resignation of Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok on Monday. According to a doctors' union, at least 3 protesters were killed on Sunday after thousands of demonstrators opposed to military rule took to the streets. The number of protesters killed since October's military coup has also risen to 56. The Sudanese Professionals Association, SPA, a coalition of trade unions leading the campaign against military rule, has said protesters will be heading to the presidential palace until victory is achieved. However, security forces have been deployed across the capital Khartoum and other cities ahead of those new demonstrations. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has dismissed the central bank governor and appointed a replacement. Well, the dismissal of Die Tongungo was announced in a presidential decree read on the national broadcaster on Monday, and no reasons were given for his sacking. He's been replaced by Moses Makar Deng, who has been a Director General in charge of banks, supervision and research at the bank. Well, South Sudan's economy is driven by oil, which accounts for nearly 90% of the country's national budget. It is in a bad shape due to the conflict and the drop in global oil price as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. More evidence is emerging that the Omicron variant is affecting the upper respiratory tract, causing milder symptoms than previous variants. While the World Health Organization official says that Omicron's high transmissibility means it will become dominant within weeks in many places, posing a threat in countries where a high portion of the population remains unvaccinated. Will the official's remarks on the reduced risk of severe disease chime with other data, including a study from South Africa, which was one of the first countries where Omicron was detected. However, the official also sounded a note of caution, calling South Africa an outlier since it has a young population, among other factors.
But we are seeing more and more studies pointing out that Omicron is infecting the upper part of the body, unlike other ones, the lung, who has been causing severe pneumonia. It can be a good news, but we really require more studies to prove that. We had a good number of studies coming up, proving again what we had from South Africa, that the vaccine still protects you against hospitalization and severe disease and death. And that's what vaccines were designed. The challenge has not been the vaccine, but the vaccination and reaching those vulnerable populations. Whenever Omicron is introduced, it will be a matter of weeks before it becomes the dominant. So the number has been fluctuating because of the availability of the data and the lag. Just to give you an example, in the US, they reported initially 70%. When all the data came back, it went to 57%. So there will be a fluctuation with the Christmas backlog, with the New Year. I think we'll have a better idea of the proportion in the coming days. I was given an example that the South Africa is an outlier, that we shouldn't base our information based on is a younger population, university student population moving together, and then the population disappears in December. Everyone, the country shut down, like in Western Europe, in August, or August holiday in France. It's very hard, everyone goes on a holiday. So December for South Africa is where everyone goes out on holiday. So the epidynamics will be different.
Mozambique's President Filipe Nyusi and First Lady Isaura Nyusi have tested positive for COVID and are said to be in isolation. A statement from the presidency said Mr. Nyusi and his wife had decided to isolate in accordance with health guidelines after testing positive, even though they were not showing symptoms. It adds that they had decided to do the tests after several activities done over the past few days. Coronavirus cases have been rising in recent days in the country, with the nation has so far recorded more than 193,000 COVID-19 cases, over 2,000 deaths, and more than 158,000 recoveries. Still to come on the program. The La Fabrique Art Studio in Tunisia launches an all-female hip-hop album. We'll give you more details after the break. Welcome back to the program. The Monrovia City Court has issued an arrest warrant for Liberian opposition figure Alexander Cummins to answer to the crime of forgery and criminal conspiracy linked to the alleged forgery of the coalition's documents. The case against Mr. Cummins was brought to court by Benoni Ure of the All-Liberian Party ALP. The ALP accuses him of forging the coalition agreement document by editing and replacing a section on how parties can exit the coalition. However, Mr. Cummins says the forgery allegations against him are unfounded and political. He adds that the ALP wants to leave the coalition and accuses Mr. Ure of being used by the government to create disunity within the opposition. The role traditional leaders play in tackling the challenge of out-of-school children is crucial if the state is going to make progress in lifting its educational standards. Well, that's according to Governor Umaru Fintiri of Adamawa State here in Nigeria. Governor Fintiri made the comments during an awareness meeting organized by the State Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Better Education Service Delivery for All and the State Universal Education Board.
Records indicate that more than 37 million children are enrolling in the new school year in the northeastern parts of the country. However, at least 5 million more are being left behind for various reasons like insurgency, illiteracy, poverty, and others. Adamawa, one of the states in the northeastern part of the country, is with an appreciable number of out-of-school children. And for this reason, the administration of Governor Umaru Fintiri has made it part of its priority to tackle educational challenges. Free education for secondary schools, free learning materials, and free feeding program are some of the measures put in place to make the dream a reality. The strategy seems to be yielding results as the number of out-of-school children in the state has gone from over 200,000 to less than 100,000. Not satisfied with these efforts, the state government, in collaboration with the Better Education Service Delivery for All, a federal government project aimed at bringing more children into the classroom, is reaching out to traditional rulers to sensitize them on the need to reach out to every out-of-school child. Traditional leaders drawn from Guinea Emirates, comprising Guinea, Jada, and Tungo local government areas of the state meet. Chairman of the Adamawa State Basic Education Board highlights some of the challenges experienced in the communities.
They developed cold feet towards Western education, thinking that maybe it's a way of Christianizing their children, as it used to be so many years ago. But Besda and Subeb tried to educate them to say that any child that is not educated is a danger to the family.
And the state coordinator, Better Education Service Delivery for All, speaks on the role of traditional leaders.
We want to generate authentic data of out-of-school children, not survey, not estimates. Household mapping and profiling. When we say there are 10 out-of-school children in this ward, we know where they are. Most importantly, we need to know why are they out of school.
The state government promises to do even more to return all children back to school.
Even because of the feeding, everybody wants to come to school. All the children and all the parents want their children to come to school, at least to eat food and learn.
For traditional leaders, the meeting is a good development.
Well, the message is very clear. We have seen how our children are now roaming about, out of school children, and this is not healthy for all of us. So the only thing for us is to make efforts and then put heads together so that we can salvage this situation as quickly as possible.
Earlier, the team met at the palace of the chief of Guinea chiefdom, the Gwangwari Guinea, to intimate him of their visit. The traditional rulers have been mandated to pass on the information received to their communities as part of ways to reduce the number of out-of-school children in the state to the barest minimum.
2 years after the Global Refugee Forum, Rwanda is showing how inclusive policies in education and livelihoods are unlocking the potential of refugees and their hosts. The government of Rwanda has made 9 pledges covering livelihoods, education, health, energy and environment, and protection for refugees. The country hosts over 100,000 refugees and has made strides towards improving their lives and that of their host communities as it enacts pledges it made at the Global Refugee Forum in 2019.
It's about inclusion of refugees in existing national systems. It's about a shift in mindsets from humanitarian assistance to invest in people, in capacities, in skill building. The government of Rwanda made 9 pledges covering livelihoods, education, health, energy and environment, and protection. And they're very committed to seeing that these pledges will be implemented.
Now I have a bachelor degree. That is why I'm helping others. I'm teaching Rwandans and Burundians and Congolese. Well, students can have the good weather, they sit in good positions. Even the students are motivated. Those who were dropped out, they come back to school because of these new classrooms. There will be internet. We will use our computer and our tablet to have our research, to get notes. Our learners will be updated to the new technology on the standard of other learners on the world.
Tunisia's Interior Ministry has detained a former justice minister who is suspected of terrorism. According to the Interior Minister, there were reports of acts of terrorism prompting the authorities to act. Noureddin Biri of the Ennahda party was detained over the weekend. Now he's said to have refused food and medicine and was transferred to a hospital on Monday, where he is reported to have continued with the hunger strike. The Ennahda party has been at crossroads with President Kais Saied after he sacked the Prime Minister and suspended Parliament last year. The party member and activists have said Mr. Biri's health is at risk as he has a chronic illness and has been denied professional care. So our live stories now on the program. Let's now watch these Tunisian women hip-hop their way into a male-dominated scene. La Fabrique Art Studio is launching an all-female hip-hop album promoting gender equality.
Creators behind an all-female hip-hop album promoting gender equality in Tunisia hopes it will encourage women to break free from social norms. Women rappers say their art is usually less recognized in a male-dominated scene, and social norms deeming rap and hip-hop as inappropriate forms of expression for women in Tunisia.
This experiment is based on the production of an entire album in which women contribute in some way to be committed to all the issues that concern them at the social and economic level. Male domination, misogyny and misogynistic speech in the public space.
Despite starting a career in rap 10 years ago, Tunisian rapper Nazreen Mokdad, aka Anonymous, says she is still trying to find her place and break free from social norms.
I participated in La Fabrique's hip hop project because there is no one to help you produce songs and encourage you to write and produce music with professional sound quality so that the people can see you. There's nothing like this. Instead, we find people that stand against you. For all of those reasons, I was happy to participate in this project.
Discouraged by her family, the 36-year-old mother of one says she feels sometimes hurt.
I ask myself several times why I do rap. I say that I do it for myself. I sing to my son. I sing for the future generation and for anyone who wants to listen.
Hip-hop soon grew to be a pillar of the Tunisian art scene after the 2011 mass protest that toppled former President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali. It is particularly popular among youth who says it represents an alternative to mainstream music.
People still do not recognize that any woman can be a professional in rap music and that this becomes her job. It does not differ much from string art, folklore, or folk music. It is the same. But rap for women is rejected because they feel that women sing against the norm.
The album, made by La Fabrique Art Studio, hopes the project would help aspiring women rappers to boost their musical careers and pave the way for new talent. Studio co-founder Mohammed Ben Slama said, "The project helps artists writing lyrics, producing songs and distributing them online and on social media platforms. A festival is expected to be launched to present the women artists next year."
And that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke.